In 18 years from now, how many of your goals will you have achieved? Hey, welcome back. Jeff Heggie, Daily Success Strategies. Thanks for being with me today. Hope things are going well for you. I've got a lot of things I want to talk about today. I want to share some stories with you. But first of all, what I want to do, I listened to some of the episode from yesterday, and I thought I should explain. For those that have been with me for a long time, you know this. If you're new, you might not have heard me talk about this. Ever since I started this podcast over 350 episodes ago, I've always just wanted to do it here in my backyard. So that means you're going to hear planes, you're going to hear dogs, you're going to hear the wind like you did yesterday. I didn't realize how windy it was because I do have my headphones in. During July and August, I have to work around it a little bit. You can hear that buzzing in the back. If you're from Arizona, you know what that is. Those are cicadas. It's a bug that's around this time of the year, and they get loud. And so when I came out here, they had actually quieted down, but even with my headphones on, I can still hear them. So I'll have to wait and see how loud it is for you guys. So forgive me for that. This is something I've always said I want to do. I understand that it means audio quality is not going to be as good as it could be or should be or anything like that. But it's just part of what I wanted to do with this podcast, is have it out here as much as possible. First of all, let's talk about it's Friday. On Monday, I always ask, what are you going to do this week so that on Friday, you can say it's been a successful week and you're closer to your bigger goals. So whatever you committed to on Monday, be accountable to that. Let me know how you did, what you need to do to make sure you accomplish all those things, and where you're at with things, where you're at with your goals. I always talk about, if you don't have written out clearly defined goals, you need to go get my Momentum series. It's a free program I have to help you set goals. It's at jeffhaggie.com/momentum. So it's a great program to help you figure out what your goals are. But what I want you to look at is, as we figure out our goals, we've got to reverse engineer them, figure out what we got to do on a monthly basis, figure out what we do on a weekly, daily basis, so that we can achieve those goals and have someone hold us accountable to them. So on Wednesday, I had an opportunity to speak to a young women's group about goal setting and teach them about goal setting. And something I did that was really cool was I text someone, a friend of mine up in Canada, that on March 31st, 2004, he was a young man. And I took him and a few other young men and taught them about goal setting. And I have a list of a bunch of his goals. So I said to him, hey, take a look at this list. How many of these goals have you achieved? And it was everything from goals that he was going to achieve in the next 6 months to goals that he was going to achieve in the next 20 years. And he's achieved everything on this list but 2 of them. And I just think, one, it was really cool because he has some really cool goals that he had set for himself. And there is just 2 out of this entire list that he hasn't done. And hopefully they are things that he still can do. And so I hope that's something he's able to do. But as I went through with the young women, I'm going to share a few stories. And if you go through my Momentum series, some of this stuff is there. These are the things that, if you're in my Momentum series or in my High Achievers Mindset Secrets program or even my Confident Athlete program, these are things I talk about with goal setting. But first of all, I want you to imagine, and this is a story from Earl Nightingale in The Strangest Secret. If you've got a place you need to be, if you take a ship without a rudder, without a captain, without anything, and just put it out in the harbor, is it going to get to its destination? Is it going to get to any destination? No, it's not going anywhere, right? But if we put a captain on that ship, if we put a rudder on it, and we give directions on where they need to go, 99.9 times out of 100, they are going to get there. And that's what our goals do for us. Our goals help us figure out where we need to go, and then we need to figure out what we need to do to achieve those goals. And so that's why it's so important to set your goals, understand what your goals are, understand your why, and all of those things. So the first thing I usually do when I'm setting goals with people is figuring out 101 goals and just doing it rapid fire. And I did with the young women the other night, I had them in partners, And one of them just sat with a pen writing, and to her partner, she'd say, what do you want? And write it down. What do you want? Write it down. What do you want? And after you do that for a while, you start running out of ideas, and then you can get creative, and then you can get in the mindset of really figuring out things that you want deep down. I mean, like I was saying with these young women, when I was their age, if I would have said I want a cell phone that I can send messages around the world, I can video myself, it would have been unbelievable. And so I told them, be creative. It doesn't have to be things that exist. I just wanted them to get into that mindset. And then we went into future pacing, and this is what I talk about through the Momentum series, but it's putting yourself out a year from now, and it's been the absolute best year of your life. Everything has been perfect. So I want you to visualize that, and if you've had the absolute best year of your life, everything's gone perfect. What made that so? What are the things that happened that made that the best year of your life? And that's what we're going to set as our goals. And take those things and figure out how to put those into SMART goals where they're specific, measurable, attainable, and time sensitive. So put them into real goals that you're going to be able to achieve. And then once we have that figured out, I talked to him about the RAS. I'm doing this really fast. I don't want this to be a real long podcast, but your RAS, I told him the story about when we moved to Arizona. My daughter, on the way down here, her car blew up. We had to get rid of it. When we came down here, we had to get her a new car. And we ended up buying her this little Mitsubishi Spider convertible. Really cool little car. I'd never seen one before. Once we bought it, all of a sudden I started seeing this car everywhere. Was it that these cars just started showing up? No, they've always been there, but my RAS never looked at them as something important to me, so I never noticed them. But now that we had one and it's something important to me, I started to notice them. It's the same thing as when you buy some clothing and all of a sudden you see other people wearing it. Your RAS is your filter that tells you what's important to you. And the importance of setting goals is when you have goals, and when I talk about my success habits and writing out your goals every day, those sort of things, the important part about that is that you need to be able to keep your goals front of your mind, because then your RAS will pick out the things that are going to help you achieve it, because it knows these are important things to you. So we talked about the importance of your RAS. We talked about the importance of writing out your goals every day. We talked about reviewing them, all of those things. And then we went through the 7 levels deep exercise to figure out your why, to figure out your purpose behind each of these goals. And the importance of that is there's going to be days that you don't feel like working on your goals. There's going to be days that you just don't feel ambitious. But when you go through the 7 levels deep exercise and you really have a true why, a true purpose for your goals, those are the things that are going to push you. Those are the things that are going to keep you going. And I'm not going to go through that process right now. Go to jeffheggie.com/momentum and you can get through this process, go through the 7 levels deep exercise. But it's a really powerful exercise. But then once you've got that all figured out, you've got to reverse engineer it. You've got to figure out what you need to do on a monthly basis to achieve your goal in the next year, if that's what your time frame is. And then once you have that figured out, what do you have to do on a weekly basis? And then you can break it down daily so that you can plan what you're going to do. Just because you set a goal, it's not going to happen. You've got to plan these things out. And that's why on Monday I say, what are you going to do this week that's going to get you closer to your bigger goals? Because you got to be accountable. You got to hold yourself accountable and plan for all these things. Then I talked about, when you look at your goals, you've got to decide if you really want to achieve these. The root word of decide or decision means to cut off. So it means if you've really decided you're going to achieve these goals, you've cut off other options. Apollo Ono, I was at an event one time in Salt Lake City and he was speaking and he was talking about getting ready for the Olympics. And he had decided on how he was going to work out for the Olympics and win a gold medal. And he decided that the only food that would go into his body was for fuel. And so he wasn't tempted by junk food. He wasn't tempted by a pizza. He was only putting fuel into his body. That's what food was. And that's what you've got to do. And the other part I talked about was the 100% is easier than 99%. When you're 100% committed to something, you're going to do it no matter what. When you're 99% committed, there's things that could get in the way that you'll just be like, today it's not going to work out. If I'm 100% committed to working out, and I'm traveling, I get to a hotel late at night, I don't get to bed till 2 a.m. I've got a meeting at 9 a.m., but I'm 100% committed to my morning workouts. Regardless of what time I got to bed, I'm going to get up and do my workout. If I'm 99% committed, I'm going to say, you know what, it's 2 a.m., I'm going to bed, I got to sleep in, so I'm ready for this meeting. I give myself an out. So make yourself first of all, decide on achieving these goals, and then make yourself 100% committed to them. Okay, that was an extremely fast run through of that whole goal setting process, but really, it's like that ship in the harbor without a rudder. Without setting your goals, without setting your destination, and really knowing where you're going, you're not going to get there. So go to jeffheggie.com/momentum, and you can get my free momentum series. You can go through this process and set it all up. But if you're an athlete, same thing, setting these goals up is important. You've got to do this. But join us and do it in the Confident Athlete program. Go to jeffheggie.com/confident-athlete. If you're an entrepreneur, a high achiever, whatever, that you want to look at doing this as well, I have a ton of options for you. I want to work with you. I want to help you do these things, and I'd love to work with you personally. Send me a DM or email me at jeff@jeffheggie.com. Or if you'd rather go the route of you just want to go through a program, go to mindset.jeffheggie.com. My very best, absolute best program, best option is the Academy with the High Achievers Mindset Secrets, because you can go through the program, but you still work with me one-on-one as well. So take a look at it. Let me know. I'd love to work with you. And you know, if you want to jump on a strategy call, talk about your situation, what you're doing, and the things you're trying to achieve, just send me a message. Love to talk about those things. Now, please, I talked about it on the last episode about sharing these. I really appreciate this. If you would share this with at least one other person, it helps me out a ton, and I really appreciate it. But thank you again for being with me. I'll be back with you again on Monday.